welcome to the latest episode of What's Brewing with CIM. Today's business landscape is extremely dynamic, and industries now not only compete within their local boundaries but also with international brands. So, in this backdrop, all business functions play a critical role in adding value to its ecosystem and generating sustainable business growth. Today's conversation is going to be about how marketing too has steadily evolved into being such a strategic growth enabler across different industries, and we are having expert insights from a professional, a veteran who's worked in different kinds of industries who can comment on such topics. So, welcome to the show, Shamal Gunawardene, the Chief Operating Officer of CEAT.
Thank you, Venori, and thank you for having me on the show today.
Of course. So I think the first question that the audience would be very interested in is, you come from a background where you have addressed both the B2C and the B2B market. And now CEAT too also has that. In terms of approaching the marketing discipline, how should the professionals kind of identify the different requirements of the two target audiences, which must be very different, but also do it in a way that creates cohesive synergy?
I think it's very important to know the difference between the two, because your B2B customer's thinking and his needs and what his expectations from you as a supplier maybe is completely different to from a B2C customer. So if you look at a B2B customer, even in the current context, we would be dealing with a lot of original equipment manufacturers who develop their own vehicles or motorbikes. They would be wanting more business partnership with you, because they'll be looking at you to support them with insights and ideas about how they can take their products into the future. It's more business model that they're looking at, and they want a good relationship partner who will support them with the right business insights to grow their business as well. That's how you'd look at a B2B customer. But when you move to B2C, you're really engaging with the end user most of the time. And for them, it's more about the emotional connection, the trust they have with your brand or your service. And they would want you to be relevant to their day-to-day occasions or need of their lifestyles. So it's more about the trust they have in you, the faith they have in your brand or product is what a B2C person would look at. So to summarize, a B2B would be more a business model driven relationship or a partner in progression for the business, but a B2C would be more building a trust and an emotional connect with your consumer where you remain relevant to them as their needs and wants change. That is the difference between a B2C and a B2B.
And I think the difference is so large, and it's certainly challenging for the professionals who's dealing with both segments, is it?
Yes, it is, because you need to have the insights to support both. One common link I would say for both is that you need to keep your ears on the ground and know what your customer or consumer is talking about, because some of those insights are relevant even to pass on to your B2B customers. And also you'd know better the needs of the B2C customers.
So when you speak of insights, actually the world has certainly moved into big data and analytics, and it's all about supporting business decisions with now insights. Now, how do you see the role of data and analytics playing in the marketing space, especially even within manufacturing sectors, where you wouldn't really put so much, you think that the importance is less compared to FMCG sector, where the market moves much faster. How do you see that playing into business models like yours?
I think data analytics is very important, and it would be the same answer I would give even for FMCG or for current industries like what I work in, because I think the world is evolving from, it's actually, if you look at it, it's languages that are spoken now. The past has been more about the manufacturing language, the finance language, the marketing language, and the sales language. Now these languages have to become one in organization. You can't have each one talking their own language. That's exactly a silo mentality that you have. And if they talk their own languages, you will never merge together in a common room and come towards the end user and what he needs. So this data analytics now needs to delve into one language. If it comes into one language, you can sit around a table and finally see what do all these languages mean in terms of the customer. So that you understand all our knowledge has to finally go in to be a proactive company towards the customer. We have to move on from reactive of what happened last month, let's look at our data analytics to know what happened or what went wrong last month, to what's the future characteristics through data, what is it showing, what are the trends showing for the future, how will this help us through this data, are we future ready, what kind of NPDs or innovations do I need to do looking at this data to get ready for it. So data, if it reaches that sweet spot of one language across functions, you can be a proactive organization that will be preparing for 6 months ahead, 1 year ahead, 3 years ahead. And that will be the change or the paradigm shift that you can see in organization if this data comes into one language.
So almost like an ambidextrous situation where you learn from the past, but you also work on the future at the
Yes,
same time.
yes.
And I suppose that now when you spoke about the entire organization coming together and speaking one language, I'm also thinking about different functions within the company. You have different divisions. So it really does have a role to play in terms of the cross collaboration as well. How do you see that impacting in terms of driving businesses forward? Cross collaboration, do you have a view of what happened in the past to the importance it has now on a business?
Cross collaboration is very important, and like you said, you need to know from the past what happened so you don't make the same mistakes as you go forward in the future. But if you don't have cross collaboration, your organization will slow down. And the easiest way to set a good cross collaboration is to drive one concept, and that is that we are all driven by a consumer insight focused need. And if we listen to them and you truly become a outside in organization, meaning you'll hear from outside and come inside, whereas in the past we had functions where marketing is told this is our new product, now let's plan how to launch it.
Post
Versus,
discussion.
yeah, what do you need outside? And you come back to the boardroom and said, I walked the street yesterday and I discovered that there's an opportunity to launch something new. That is the way forward. But when you come back from the street and share that in your boardroom, you should have a cross collaborated team that's ready to support the idea. The manufacturer would say, yes, that sounds a good idea. I think we can make it. Technical will say, I've got the technical expertise to make it. Sales will say, fine, it looks a good idea. We can do it. Marketing will say, I think I can think of the creative storyline to sell this product. And finance will say, yes, the numbers look good, so let's go ahead and launch the product. But that's the beauty of a company that will listen to the noise outside and come back in and develop a cross-functional support team to launch a product.
So it's really about silo no more. It will not work for us.
No,
we
it won't.
have to be
You have to
actually
break up.
make sure that you work across the organization very well.
Yes.
So now you did mention this a little earlier, but traditionally businesses did approach their segmentation of separate of divisions as revenue generating, and they may also have recognized support functions. How do you see that frame still holding? Is it still true? Can businesses thrive under such separation? And how do you see that applying in the case of CEAT as well?
It's more than separation. I think it's about identify. If you break this up into a very simple thing, one of my previous leaders who I used to work under would have this famous line. He used to say that there are only two functions in a company: those who sell and those who support sales.
Okay.
There is no other functions. So that's how simple it was broken down. But in the way you ask the question, those who sell are the ones who drive the revenue of the company. And finally, you have to understand that all the other functions are there to evolve around and support your resources that are involved in selling or revenue generation. So if you get all your teams to support them, they will sell the product, they will bring the revenue. Of course, with the right products and the right insights, you have to support them selling. So if the finance person thinks, how do I support the selling person? The marketing person thinks, how do I support the selling person? Procurement person thinks, how do I support the selling person? That will change a complete organization dynamic. Because if a salesman comes to the office, the head office, and talks to you, your answer should be, what can I do to help you? What do you need? These are my challenges. How can I help you? It's not about why did you do this, why did you do that, not about finding fault and being the typical questionnaire of our processes, but to see, how can I help you? Let me see how I can help you. So if everybody evolves around the concept that I need to support the sales team or the revenue generating team of a company, all the functions can rally around together and support them. And then your organization naturally moves forward.
This leads me to think that a lot of what you said is actually related to the leadership and also the culture, the DNA that the company embodies. Would you like to comment on that as well?
Yes, it's very important because for me, always, I love the line of culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because if you don't have
Love the quotes being
yes,
thrown in.
if you don't have the right culture, all your fancy presentations and business plans can just go out of the window. Because if your culture is not set to think new, to be innovative, to have open discussion with anybody, for anyone to come and share new ideas, and to be able to support things, if it's there to help people grow and drive a business, the business will move forward, and you'll see those changes happen. If not, it will just drag you down. You'll have people in silos, you'll have people in corners, you'll have the frozen people, you'll have the people who will not speak up, and
Eventual
it won't
decline.
last too long.
Okay, so then
Yes.
eventually we will see the decline in one
Yes,
way or
it
the
will
other.
see, and you'll wonder what happened now.
So this brings to our last question, and this I really want to focus on your industry as well, the
Yeah.
manufacturing one. Let's assume that you have to start from scratch, but the task at hand is to build a future-ready program, a model that really drives the business towards great expansion in the next 5 to 10 years. What would your ideal formula be? What would you do?
I've got this very simple formula to try to keep it minimalistic. For me, minimalism is very important because biggest problem is sometimes we overcomplicate things and we try to do too many things. If we can always simplify, I believe in kind of a 2-5-12 approach. 2 means you clearly identify the teams in the company, who are the revenue generators, who are the support functions. You should do that first. And then you build your cross-functional teams to work together. Thereafter, I think you should pick 5 priorities at any given phase. It could be a 6 months, it could be a 12-month outlook. You should not go beyond 5 because it's easy with the 5 fingers to have 5 priorities. And it also helps you to select, because if you put it down a piece of paper, you'll have 20 things you want to do. But it also forces you to think what are the biggest 5 priorities. And if you can limit yourself to 5 rules or 5 things that you want to prioritize, you end up trying to be disciplined about the big wins, the must wins. What are the big playing strategies going to be? And then you block those 5 out. Thereafter, you have to set your 12-month calendar on how you're going to roll it out. Because you need a decent cycle as well to roll things out. Sometimes you set up a 5-month strategy and you want to see the results in 3 months, it might not come in. You have to work at it, you have to push at it. And it takes the time to evolve. Large organizations take time for strategies to trickle down from the boardroom level to the front line to reach the front end sales guy. And he's waiting for a very simple message to come to him on what are the 5 things you need to do. So if you can simplify your business of creating your cross-functional models of the revenue generators, the 5 priorities and the 12-month calendar, that would put a very good perspective into how you can plan a future-ready organization. Of course, it'll evolve. And you have to keep doing rain checks on how is it moving, are we on track, are we off track, and get that going.
Okay, so to sum it up, 2, 5 and 12.
Yes.
All right, so that's the formula for success by Shamal Gunawardene. This brings us to the end of our lovely conversation, and I think it was the content was so enriching because you did really share a lot of knowledge that could be applied by and that could be absorbed by any professional across any industry. So thank you again for joining us on the show.
Thank you, and thank you for What's Brewing with CIM for having me today. Thank you very much.
Of course, so stay tuned for another episode coming soon.